Welcome back to another edition of On the Court here on the Podium Finish. I'm Rob Tiongson, and on this edition of On the Court, I am so pleased to have the talented, the amazing, and really amazingly talented and awesome Monique Billings, number 25 forward for the Dallas Wings. And she's not just a basketball player, she's done it all. She's written a book, she's been an analyst, and now she's probably doing the best thing possibly in the world of the WNBA. She's here on the Podium Finish. So, Monique, how are you doing today?
Doing well. We just finished practice. Had a really good focus practice for in Arizona for the game tomorrow. The season's going really, really fast. So we have 3 games till the break. We're trying to make sure we win these next 3.
Absolutely. And I know that's clear vision because you guys are still not in, you're not out of it. You're still in the fight. There's still plenty of basketball to be had going down this stretch before the Olympic break, which we'll talk about here a little shortly. But let's just talk about the fact that you're on the Dallas Wings, which we're really grateful for because it came during a difficult moment, as we know. In the season opener, you were given the call to go join the Wings on a hardship contract. So where were you when this happened and what were your emotions when this happened?
I was at my mom's house when I got the call. Very unexpected. It was like 3 days, wasn't on a team, didn't know where I was going to end up, but I'm a woman of faith. So I knew that God was going to put me right where I was supposed to be. And that's what he did. Being with this organization has been fantastic. From front office to the staff to my teammates, everyone just a part of the organization just is on point. And so I'm really grateful and just excited for the opportunity and excited to keep building with this team.
We're happy to have you around, Monique, because I can tell you you've been a difference maker since day one being on the team. And we just love seeing the high energy that you have on both ends of the floor. I mean, you have been a difference maker since being here since mid-May. So it's exciting to have you. And your career is taking you so many cool places. You've been obviously the UCLA, South Korea, Israel, Australia, and Russia among places. So I'm just curious, what have you learned about yourself playing in these different places personally and professionally in your life?
I like that question. I've been blessed to just live in so many different places, experience different cultures and foods, people. It has been a blast. What have I learned about myself? To be adaptable, and anywhere you go, it's going to be different. No matter where the country, the situation, you just have to be open and adaptable because everyone has different cultures and rules. It looks different wherever you go, but I want to go and be a light in any environment. I never want to be like a diva or someone who's stuck up, standoffish. Like I am open to fully immersing myself in all of these cultures when I go. So being adaptable is the biggest thing that I feel like I've learned in my journey.
That's something I think a lot of people don't get to be in their life because they can tend to be a little bit rigid and set in their own ways. But here you are, you've played everywhere. And I think it's just so cool that you got to play in Asia, which as you've discovered, there's a big love of basketball in Asia, which I'm sure took you by surprise initially.
Yeah, it's cool. The fans really show up to the games. They have jerseys. They give you what I like about playing in Asia. They'll give you like little gifts or little treats after the games, which is so sweet. It might be like a little bracelet or like a little flower or a card. But when I was playing in Korea or China, I got a lot of love from the fans.
I love to hear that. And I can see why, because you're such a positive person. And the moment you come into the room, you make people smile already. I'm already doing that myself. So it's
Thank
so,
you.
yeah, you're welcome. I'm very serious about that. I love when you're just so positive, and that's something that you talk a lot about in your book, by the way, which by the way, I was so impressed to read about that you have this book called Finding Balance, a playbook for wellness. And the one thing I think a lot of people have been trying to work on is finding a balance between not only physical health but mental health, which we've learned is a big thing we have to do a better job with after the COVID pandemic. So I'm kind of curious, how has basketball helped shape your perspective on mental wellness and just being a better person overall?
That's a great question. Something that I have learned and continuing to learn is that my value comes from who I am, not from what I do. And I feel like that can be a big hurdle, mental health wise. When you're so locked in and tied into your identity on the court, it can kind of merge into your identity off the court, but those are two separate things. And I think in sports, in life, I think sometimes we forget the value of who we are as human beings, the light that we bring, people that we inspire. It's so much bigger than just putting the ball in the hoop, which that's important too. But the biggest thing is how you treat people, how you make people feel, the impact that you're leaving on the game. And so I feel like that's something that I'm learning, just through maturity in my career. And so from a mental health standpoint, I would say, just being even keel. I think that's very important when it comes to knowing who you are, not getting too high. If you have a crazy double, not getting too low. If you have a game where maybe you didn't score, just being even in the middle. And the most important thing is just keeping your personality in check, being humble and remaining like a good person and being light.
I like that. And that's so true because I think as human beings, when things go bad, we tend to dwell too long on the bad. And if we're too happy, it's like nothing can stop us, which is a good feeling, but it's so euphoric that we forget the reality of things, wouldn't you say?
And just seeing the bigger picture, remembering the bigger picture. I struggle with this too, but like it's not that deep. Like life is gonna go on. There's so many more important things and matters. You know, when I lose games, I'm competitive and it's hard. And of course I don't want to lose, but like trying to keep everything into perspective. Like life is so good. I'm healthy. If I lost the game, but I was able to walk off the court, like that's just perspective that I gotta have. It's all good, you know.
I think that relates to what something I read online about how you just have to deposit, cash in on those victories that you have each day, the small wins. And I think that is an awesome thing to talk about.
Love that. I've been trying to focus a lot lately on small wins.
You have to in life, even if things are going well. I mean, you just have to think, even if there's that one bad thing that happened in your day, if there was one good thing that happened, that should be the only thing that you're on your mind, I would say.
Yeah, I totally.
I love that, and I think that's why I love learning about your journey and watching you play for us for sure. And the one thing I was really impressed by as well, in terms of an athletic standpoint, you were a dual threat in high school. You were not only playing basketball for your high school in Santiago High School, but you also specialize in the high jump and track and field. Which, of course, with the Olympics coming up, I'm sure you're like, oh, I can't wait to watch Paris. I wish that was me sometimes out there. And I'm always wondering how did competing in both of those sports elevate you as an athlete, given how intense both sports are?
Yeah, I think it gave me balance because like doing track was just a different look. I've played basketball my whole life, but playing a different sport, it's outdoor, it's co-ed, so it was just a different look and different vibe. So really grateful for those moments that I had playing, not even running track, but on the track team. I had a really good time.
And I just can't even imagine the skills, the discipline that there is to do the high jump. Because I watch that and I'm thinking my legs gonna bust out. I'll be in a lot of pain.
You gotta be a little bouncy. Definitely gotta have some bounce to you.
I wish I could have that. Maybe my nephew and niece, who are much more athletic than me, will be much
Aww.
more graceful than me. They're younger than me for sure, but I
Yeah.
could see one of them doing it. So I'll make sure Uncle Rob tells them about that for sure. And the thing that also I have to imagine was tough for you once you made the leap from high school to play for UCLA is you made the decision, all right, I'm going to play basketball. This is going to be my focus. You talked about balance, but what was it like when you made that decision to say, you know what, my heart and soul athletically is going to be on the hardwood court and showcase what I can do as an individual and as a teammate for UCLA?
Thankfully, it wasn't too hard of a decision. I was getting my education paid for, and I feel like that was the priority for me. So knowing that basketball was going to essentially pay my bills, that was my main thing. So I was like, let me tap in with this, put all my resources into it and max out.
About 15 minutes.
That's amazing that you were able to do that because I know for a lot of folks, they may not understand. You're not just athletes playing on the TV and the arenas. You're also students by day, and there's a lot of demands just to study to achieve those GPAs so you can be on the team. So to do all of that, like you said, the word balance is something I think about with you, Monique. You had to learn that at a very young age. That's pretty intense. Hi, Enrique. Oh, I'm just impressed by you with how you're be able to achieve balance in life. And the thing too is not just with life on the basketball court, because let's not forget, you're not just a great defensive player, which of course you have the awards.
He says hi too.
What's up, Coach LT? You don't just have great balance as a defensive player, which you of course have the accolades with in the Pac-10, but my goodness, you have offensive skills. You're a rebound machine. You're able to go in the paint. You make the opponents pay for it. And I'm just wondering, when you got to play for the UCLA Bruins, what was it like to work with teammates like Jordin Canada, Kennedy Burke, who are obviously in the WNBA themselves, and knowing that you brought out the best not only in yourselves but with each other.
Yeah, I was in the same class with Jordin Canada. Miss playing with her for sure. We had a lot of good times. I think we just fed off each other. We had such good energy and synergy on the court. She was the Kobe to my Shaq. That's what it felt like playing at UCLA. So hopefully, I mean, we're both still playing, so hopefully we could play together again at some point.
Oh, that would be pretty neat to see. And I love that Kobe and Shaq. That's a great symmetry. And we saw what those two did on the court during the days in the LA Lakers. Now, one thing I've got to talk about with you is just the explosive growth of the WNBA and women's basketball. I mean, it's not just due to one person, but with all the new eyes that are on the sport, learning about you, learning about what the Dallas Wings are all about. What is your opinion about what's going on, and what are some ways that the league and the sport can grow even better in your perspective?
I love it. I love that people are talking about the sport. People are invested in personal stories. I think the league can continue to grow just by sharing more personal stories, allowing fans to really connect with individual players, with teams, more activations, allowing just fans to be in our space more, whether that's like with signings or just different game day type activities. I think it's cool. But I think the league obviously is growing. I think it's only going to continue to soar. So I can't wait to see where it goes.
And neither can I, because I can tell you for a fact, I wish I did this much sooner than later. I should have covered women's basketball along at the same time I covered NASCAR. So the fact that I'm doing this now, I'm catching up and I want to make up for the lost time. And I'm enjoying covering the sport and the league, to say the least. And the thing I love about covering the Dallas Wings is that you all feed off of each other, win or lose. And the thing about Coach Trammell, which you saw her earlier, and we'll give her a shout out sometime, but Coach LT always talks about breathing life into each other. And what are a few things you've learned from her as well as your teammates?
She's a player's coach. She prides herself on being a player's coach. I feel like that's why I've been able to thrive in this environment. Just playing free. And in my career, I really haven't had a coach who's like poured into me in a super positive way. And I just feel empowered. And so it's been awesome playing for LT. Yeah, it's been really great.
I'm happy to hear that. And she really has that player coach mentality. Having been a player herself for Oklahoma many years ago, but the fact that she can relate to you guys, it's not just her just giving you plays on the X's and O's on the clipboard. She knows exactly what you guys are doing on the court as warriors and then off the court as human beings. So that has to be a fun balance to be with her and say, hey, coach, or just talk to her as a person.
Totally.
Now, before we wrap things up, I have a few more questions for you, more on the fun side to kind of showcase your personality. And hopefully we get to catch up with you down the road, whether you're with the Dallas Wings or hopefully you're still staying in the Dallas Wings. I want you to stick around. Now, if you had to describe yourself as a journalist, because you're an analyst as well on TV, what are 3 words that you would use to describe yourself and why?
As a journalist or as an analyst?
How about both?
Okay. How I would describe myself as an analyst, relatable. When I am talking about a game, breaking down a game, I want people at home, people watching to feel my energy and just feel like I'm having a normal conversation with them. And I'm not a journalist, but if I was to describe myself as a journalist, I would say that I would be a persistent journalist.
I like that because that's something I don't think a lot of people understand. You have to be politely persistent. That's the key. Because you don't want to get on people's grills, but you also have to understand that if you don't get the answer, you kind of have to get the answer somehow, right? Now, before I wrap things up, Monique, if you had to pick an actress in Hollywood that could play you on the big screen in Hollywood or even in Netflix, and it's about the movie called Monique Billings, the girl who does it all, who would you pick to play you and why?
I am picking Tyra Banks. She has been like my idol since I was a young girl. I wanted to be like her when I was growing up. So if she were to play me in a movie, that would be incredible.
I could see that. And honestly, you do give off the vibe of Tyra Banks. She's awesome. And I think it, oh, for sure. No, for real. I'm serious. If she got to hear that, I hope she does hear that when she watches this interview. She better give you a call.
I love Tyra. So go ahead and hit my line, Tyra.
The lines are open for sure, and you better have that happen, Tyra. Get with Monique because she is Mo for sure. And if you do you have anything else you want to say? Any shout outs you want to give to family, friends, or fans out there?
I want to give a shout out to you, Rob. Thank you for your platform. Yeah, thank you for this lovely interview, for sharing space for us as women's basketball players, for helping us to grow the game. Yeah, thank you for your platform.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna try not to cry after this because
Oh
that's
no.
the nicest thing I've heard all week long. So
You
thank you so
deserve
much
it.
for
Keep
thank you
shining
for
your
saying.
light.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I am glimpsed right now. Oh, goodness gracious. All right,
Oh,
people, that is On the Court with Monique Billings. This is probably the happiest interview I've done in my life. So thank you, Monique, for your time. Let's have you back on real soon. I promise you.
okay. Talk soon. Bye.